know my skilo. The 502, what up?
What's up?
All
Josh
right.
with the Ray's Creek shirt on today.
It's a great day. It's Derby week. Let's go. There's nothing greater than Derby week in Louisville, Kentucky, and we are excited to be here for Game 4 of the Loopers for Life podcast, powered by Talgrace Marketing and Media. And Joey, tell me a little something about this past week.
Well, what do you want to know? Something local about?
Yeah, I want to hear some local stories first. I want to start this off with a little right-handed versus left-handed, side of the table versus left side of the table.
Yeah,
Let's just go ahead and talk a little Kentucky golf first, and let's talk about the South Park Invitational.
Okay, well, South Park Invitation went off well. Guys that played in the afternoon had to play in some rain, cold rain. I played. My partner and I didn't manage to kill each other, which is good. I did hit a couple shots left-handed during the tournament. Some right-handed. I played right-handed, but I did hit a couple left-handed shots. Actually, the only shortest birdie putt I had on the whole golf course during the weekend was hit left-handed into 15, but I didn't make the putt. I think we ended up.
So did you do this mid-round?
I just carried a couple left-handed clubs in the bag. Yeah.
And just whenever you needed to hit it?
Well, I wanted to make sure that he was in decent shape before I hit a left-handed shot. I wasn't going to risk it. But actually, by that point, I thought we were kind of. I didn't think we had a chance of winning. We actually only finished like 3 shots out of the lead.
Well, I know you were the round one leaders and you couldn't hold on. I mean, didn't think you had a chance of winning. I don't understand that mentality.
Well, listen, man,
you had the round one lead.
Well, we had to watch a 70-year-old guy hit from the silver tees all day playing with Josh Garr. That just basically wore us out.
Is it?
Wore us out all weekend.
It's not fair.
No, they played great. We played okay, and actually we played pretty decent. My partner actually kept us. I told him the first day. I said, I'm only here to hit tee shots and make putts. You do the rest because I'm the worst iron player in the world. And I was. I proved I was the worst iron player in the world.
It was a pretty good field. You had a lot of I saw the list that was on the Metro Park page, and there was quite a few good players from across Kentucky that played in the championship division. Is always a high contest out there with the Jarvie brothers out there.
Yeah,
so you're always Holman's and of course Matt Gady,
Yeah.
who's the local amateur champion of champions.
Yeah, great guy.
Well, not only a great guy, but he will travel to play for a set of Titleist APs or something like that.
And a bottle of tequila. Yes.
I don't know Matt that well, but I mean,
it was a great tournament. David did a great job. It ran smoothly. The weather, obviously wasn't all that great in the afternoon on Saturday, but we played early, so I didn't have to worry about that. But the second day was great, and I'm telling you, the greens were as slick as this table right here.
Is that right?
And Chris Miller had put the pins in some fun positions. I personally love tough pin placements. I love them. You will never hear me gripe about a tough pin placement, but there were some fun ones. There was a couple balls that rode 5 feet away after.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, and
I love that stuff.
And when you watch tournament golf and you see that, and that's one of the things like on TV, it's hard to see. They have done a better job in showing the breaks and showing the architectural designs of the golf course. Obviously, you see that on great golf courses such as Augusta and whatnot, but on a weekly basis, that is what really separates the players that are playing on TV and the players that are chasing to play on TV, similar to the Monday qualifiers. Someone like Michael Vasecki. I mean, how about that? We're going to talk about Big Mike on a story coming up for our later fantasy drafts. But, the ability to make putts 5 feet and in downhill on breakers, on hard hole locations.
Right. Now, I don't think they should all be like that. I don't think they should be totally ridiculous. But you'll never hear me. This is just me. I can't speak for anybody else. You will never hear me ever gripe about pins that are tucked and have 5 foot of break because putt better that way because you can miss a putt. You've got choices.
I always
can hit it 3 feet offline based on speed.
Right.
I can't make a straight putt. I don't want a straight putt.
Really?
I'm going to miss it 3 feet to the right.
Do you have one of those bullseyes so you can go right-handed, left-handed?
No, actually, I probably need to put one of those in the
bag.
I
low.
putt with my wedge a lot. I actually putt with my sandwich a lot.
You sound like a great partner.
I mean, yeah, well,
for a.
I putt with my sandwich.
Did you? He sounds like a great partner. I would like to play
golly.
that. I will tell you something that happened to me.
I'll play you any day.
something that great happened to me that I
Well,
feel
I'm
like
usually chipping it from off the green. That's what I mean by
I had the opportunity this past week. I got my second dose and had the opportunity. I took the day off and thought I was, not going to be able to make it. But 24 hours later,
Right.
just like that, I felt 1,000 times better. And I had the opportunity to play a game of golf with some old members over at Big Spring.
Yeah, I
Country
seen the
Clubs.
video that you put up.
And and it was totally incredible. Their renovation, the golf course was in. They had just airified the greens, so
Right.
they're still working on that, as all courses in Louisville, Kentucky do this time of year. But the new clubhouse and new facilities were pretty spectacular.
Oh, wow.
And such a great historic golf course in the game. In Kentucky golf.
Yeah.
I mean, hosting the PGA Championship and numerous Kentucky Opens and numerous Kentucky Amateurs, and really just a classy facility, and it was a good day.
Yeah.
So my uncle and my dad grew up. There was what they called the projects right across the street from Big Springs, where the what is it, Bowman
Jewish
Field?
Community Center is.
the Jewish Community Center and all that is. Bowman Field's on the other side. The
Gotcha.
projects were,
Right.
I'm not sure exactly where they were. I don't want to
Yeah,
say.
Well,
but
yeah, they're still
that's
there.
where they grew up,
Right.
And so apparently they would hop this fence, and then my dad and my Uncle Jack would go caddy.
Yeah, there's a picture of Jack caddying
caddying
for Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, well, my dad's actually in that picture too. He was caddying for Jack. Who was the pro?
Jack Ryan.
Jack
Pro, yeah,
Ryan.
Yeah.
So my dad was caddying for Jack Ryan. Jack was caddying for Arnold Palmer, and apparently, that's one of their all-time highlights. But
Yeah.
I've got some Jack Ryan stories.
Oh, yeah. Jack was, now I want to throw something in here. I got a little surprise for you.
Uh-huh.
Since we're talking about caddying, we won't be on the subject real long, but I got a little something for you that I brought. I meant to bring two of them, but the other one was in a shed.
I'm looking forward to that.
Here it is, baby.
Oh, the official
question
old
is-
school.
Will this thing still fit me?
I like that.
But yes, Teague, we had to wear these.
So where?
That is the Valhalla original right there. That is.
So I've got, obviously I got the sleeves cut off. We've got the sweat stains.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will try to
love
try
the
this one.
sweat
Actually, I think we should wear these during the show.
At
But,
one point in time, I'll throw one on.
I've got a couple in the shed.
Do you have it all cut up? I never went with the cutoffs
I
right
cut
there.
the sleeves off. Of
No.
course, you got the sweat stains. So.
Yeah.
But one
yeah.
of the best little quick caddy stories, this actually I think may have saved a kid's life out of Valhalla, a kid that was in my group, was in the high grass looking for a golf ball,
All right.
and a snake bit him. But, I don't know. I guess these are made of canvas. Maybe they were hot.
Yeah, they were
Snow.
canvas.
And we went commando under these quite a bit, by the way.
You did.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I wish I had the two unders
But,
at that point in time.
So anyway, he got bit by a snake, and the snake actually didn't get him. It got his
Canvas.
canvas. I can't remember what hole we were on. It seemed like we were on 7.
Man.
And he's over screaming. He's yelling, screaming, leg kicking, and we don't know what's going on. And I run over there, and he's like, I got a snake. The snake got stuck to his
Wow.
thing and couldn't get loose. I guess there was something in there. And I had to beat the snake to death with a golf club. And we couldn't get the snake's
I'm
head
sure
off.
that wasn't your first time
Yeah.
doing that.
What kind of snake?
We didn't ask, but it was definitely had to be poisonous because he had. So I beat this thing in half, and we couldn't. Nobody wanted to reach down there and get the head off, so he caddied the rest of the round with the snake head
Nice.
on this thing.
Speaking of the snakehead, that's like kind of getting into our fantasy
Yes,
golf coming up
yes.
over at
And
the
it's
Valspar
yes.
Championship at Innisbrook, the Copperhead Golf Course.
Yes.
So it's going to.
It might have been a copperhead that bit him, but
Yeah.
it was a young kid. He was only caddy, probably. I think it might have been the only day.
I mean, that's a story there.
Well,
See,
that
those
was
are the
a good
caddy
story.
stories we're looking for
Yeah.
here.
I mean, I'm
that
over beating
was
this
right
thing
there.
with-
That came out real quick too. And I mean, he brought out the jersey and everything. I mean, that is a vouch for yes, we are loopers for life
yes.
right there, and we
But
do
I'll
have.
get
caddy
the other one
stories.
out of the thing, and I'll wash it, and we'll just wear these during the show.
Well, going back to what Teague said about Arnold Palmer coming in there, and just all the greats that have came through Louisville, Kentucky, have always teed it up at Big Spring, and with the PGA Championship there. And the one thing that I really did like about the renovation, outside of it, was totally incredible, was just their. And I'm sure it was there before, but they were probably hidden in the clubhouse somewhere over the years. That I never see, but just some of those old photos in black and white,
Yeah.
they look so good over there in the men's area. And
Right.
they have the simulators. I mean, it was just.
Well, I am actually working on getting. I was contacted by Big Spring to work on getting some stuff for their 50th anniversary.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah,
which
that's
I think
awesome.
is coming up. Mr. Contrell called me and was like, since you're kind of savvy at this and you've found some stuff in the past, can you find some stuff out there?
Right.
So I did manage to find. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to buy it. Somebody had already bought it, but I'm still going to look for one. I did find online a program from the 52 PGA.
Oh yeah.
And I do have a magazine at home, golf. I can't remember what
Something.
It's got Sam Snead on the front,
Right.
hitting on the old number 5 hole at. He's hitting a shot on old number 5 at the old layout at Big Spring before the 64 came in.
Well, their history of golf professionals, and speaking of Mr. Ryan and then Mr. Lally, and currently who they have there now, Gary Bebelar and Kelly Maxwell on that team, and it's really spectacular to see, and it's great because of their history in the game and their continuing support of Kentucky golf. I mean, they've done it for many years and been the class facility. So let's talk a little bit about Kentucky golf and continuing some great designs by speaking of our favorite architect from last week, Pete Dye.
No, here we go.
Huh? How many great golf courses does he have here? Or how many golf courses does he have in the state of Kentucky, Joey? Do you know that fact?
Kearney Hills is the only thing I know him and PD.
That was in there, and there's one more.
Man, you got me.
Peninsula.
Oh, yeah.
Peninsula,
Totally forgot about the Peninsula.
Peninsula
Wow,
Golf Resort down.
Totally forgot about that.
That's in between. Well, it's easy to do because it's in between Dansville and Harrisburg,
Yeah.
and it is a fantastic golf course, though, and a pretty good little resort, and where you can get the cottages and stay and whatnot. And I think that when you see like a Pete Dye golf course, and again, you either love them or hate them.
That's
but
about
they
the only way to describe it.
It is.
And you don't always hate them all. There's just some you don't.
For sure. Yeah. And what you see is that, it's very hard visually from the tee. And then when you get out in the middle of the fairway, and it's kind of like Pete Dye course up in French Lick, and you're like,
right,
man, how did I miss this fairway?
When I was caddying out on the Buy.com tour, which we didn't play a whole lot of Pete Dye courses, but there's so many of them that you did, was always told to walk the course backwards. Pete Dye gives you more. When you walk it backwards, look back at the tee, than you actually think you have.
Oh, right.
Because he's so visually demanding that you know what it's like, especially at French Lick. Hey, look, I got to hit it over here. No, sir, you got to put it over here. So we always just walked the courses backwards if we went to a Pete Dye course, because then you basically just said, look, man, you got 70 yards of room out here, but from the tee it looks like you got 10 inches.
I agree, and I think I've heard that before, and I've done that at French Lick, and anytime that I play a Pete Dye golf course, which I was in Kiowa, and I did not name drop Kiowa when we were talking about it. And that's where the PGA Championship's upcoming this month, and it's going to be a lot of talk of how great that golf course is. Fortunate enough to play that, and the second round is definitely better than the first round because of how it works.
Yes.
It goes out and in. After you get done, you turn around and look, and you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm hitting it there.
Yeah.
and it is and when you go and you see the right spot from the tee on the next day, it truly presents the right lines to play. And that's where he makes a very fair golf course. But if you hit a bad shot, Louis Oosthuizen in the playoffs last week, TPC Louisiana, one of my picks to win, battling one of my
How about these picks though?
Oh, these picks were hot. Nobody listens to us yet, but guess what? When they start doing fantasy golf, I mean, we got the Ridge Rock Entertainment coming in on it. Old cousin T, he's coming in. I can't wait because we were in the top
money
of the
to be made
leaderboard,
listening to us.
all over the
least right now.
leaderboard last week. So last week, if you don't remember, I'll just refresh our.
Hang on. I got you. Watch. Last week, here's Josh's picks.
Ooh. Top of the leaderboard, I guarantee it. So with the Euro team, give me Graham McDowell, Matt Wallace. Give me Louis Oosthuizen and Carl Schwartzel. My guys from the US of A, Cameron Champ and Tony Finau.
Cut off there at the end, Tony Finau. So those are your picks. Pretty dead on. So you had what? So Graham McDowell and Wallace were 23rd. Champ and Finau were 17th. And then Oosthuizen. Can't even say it.
Oosthuizen.
and they were second.
Yeah.
But hang on. Here's the good one. If you're paying attention.
Oh, I was paying attention.
Oh, no, I lost it.
Well,
It's not there. It's not there.
Was it my cousin T-Rock from around the block?
Right. So I took Smith and Leishman winners, and I told you they were going to win.
Oh, yeah? Oh, you did. You said play them.
And I said, also, you got to play Rahm and Palmer because they ran away with it.
Right.
They finished 7th.
Right.
And then the ones that I think really, if you would have listened and this is where it made you money. Because look, the Rahm and Palmer are easy. I mean, that's
Right.
an easy pick. But if you take Sue and Gim, who finished 11th, that's where you made some money.
Oh yeah, and I mean, and that was a great pick right there. And honestly, did not know they were American. And then he looks up, I look up, and I thought that was one of the international picks and from the world coming in, and saw the American flags on that, and I was like, yes sir, let's go. And that was awesome. And then our boy, do
Yep.
we have that guy on video?
Yeah, apparently
or
not,
we don't
but-
put that guy on record, I don't think. But let's go. Who'd you have again, Joey?
I had Danny Willett and who did
Hatton.
Hatton.
And that was the top 8.
Yeah.
Top 8, and
Which-
they made a double bogey on the last
Yes.
hole, which was a par 5. Kind of what happened in the playoff again. Louis
Total
Husa-
hunch bet. I don't want anybody to think I handicapped this thing by any mean like we do horse racing.
Mm-hmm.
It was a total hunch bet. Pulled it up. Hey, I hope you picked him.
They,
Because that'd be the last
well,
time
they-
I have anybody
they,
finish in the top
they
10.
did make the top 10, and I mean, and it was incredible because they were in contention, and if they could have birdied
Yeah.
that hole, they would have been able to post a number. And
Yeah.
behind them, the two that were playing together, it truly was an international match. Australia versus South Africa coming down, playing in the foursome event. We all know what 4-ball and foursomes are this week, right?
Yes.
So we were in the
studied up
foursome,
on that.
and the golf on the final 3 holes there presented some opportunities for some fireworks. So there was, a good par 3, drivable, or 16th was a drivable par 4, then a approachable par 3 that they hit mid irons into the final game, and neither hit the green. And then on the final hole, on the 18th hole, playing 555 yards or whatever it was into the wind, a par 5 that the pros weren't getting to. So they had to hit a little pitch shot in there. And, both teams just pretty much made par, went back, had to play it again. And then Louis Oosthuizen hit the worst tee shot probably he's hit in 20 years
No
into
doubt.
the right end of the water. But again, that's what Pete Dye does visually. If you're not committed to that shot, to that line, you will hit it into a penalty area and make a easy bogey.
Yes.
And so it was, we were all over it.
Well,
And this week,
I went back to DraftKings, and I didn't take our advice, which I should have.
Oh, you
but
didn't?
but I went back. I took my own advice, but I didn't take your all's advice. But if you go back and you take the 6 teams that we picked, and you would have played the $10 bet on DraftKings, you would have won $1 million.
Really?
If you take the 6
We need to
teams
start
that
doing
we
that.
talked about,
All right.
and you
I'm
played
gonna-
the $10 teams, because you could have taken all of them.
so
because
how much would that bet have been?
$10.
For
Are
all
you
of us
kidding
at
me?
this tape.
And if it's $10 per entry, and if we would have taken our 6 teams, we would have won $1 million.
Man. I mean, Loopers for life would have just got a little bit better.
Yeah,
through
I
the
mean,
production. So
it's crazy, but it's the
All
truth.
right,
I
let's
went
say
back
that
and-
again, just so anybody out there listening. Like
no,
later down the
let's
road-
not say that
No,
again.
let's actually do because
No,
if people
let's
are going to
actually
start
just
listening
put
to
up
us,
10
we
bucks.
can
I
pick-
got
well,
$3. You got 3. I'll go every third week. We'll rotate who
So
pays
look,
it $4. I'm in.
Here's how this works.
I am in.
It's
Wow.
it's you got to take
1
6
million.
guys, right? So in last week it was 6 teams. And it's about taking guys that are going to make the cut, and it's about taking guys. So you have a salary cap, so
Correct.
you can't just take the top 6 guys. You
Right.
got to go in and you got to mix and match. So me giving you Sue and Gim, who were at the very bottom, that was huge. So if you take them along with your Rahm and Palmer, along with your Smith and Leishman, along with your South Africans, you win.
So we just won $1 million. Oh man,
No,
I
we
mean,
did
I mean, I
not.
know we didn't. I'm just saying we
This
could
is
have won
officially
somebody-
now a Derby Week conversation.
we could have
because-
actually won somebody $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well,
Or ourselves.
we will be circling back on the PGA Tour at the end of this podcast. And today, with this just being Derby Week, we're in and out. So this is going to definitely be one of those 36-minute podcasts. And I do want to spend the next a few minutes here talking about some other golf news that happened before we jump in there, and maybe even some Kentucky golf news. But as we look, the main thing this coming week, or excuse me, about last week, is that we need to get back into this game ourselves. And I got $4 this week for whatever we pick at the back end of this. This
Yeah.
is going to be awesome.
Well,
so,
you want to do our picks then?
oh yeah, we're going to
let's
play
do
our
it.
picks.
You want to do our picks now?
I mean, you want to do it now?
No,
You
no,
wanna
no,
wait
no,
till the
no,
end of the
no,
show?
no.
Okay,
Let's
we'll wait till the
let's
show.
let's make everybody wait.
All
Let's
right.
talk a little bit.
I've got a long shot that I can't wait to tell you guys because I'm excited about it.
Oh, that's fun. Let's talk a little bit about one more thing about last week. Brooke Henderson, LPGA Tour.
Oh, yeah.
And again, just kind of covering what's going on the ladies' game too, and I think it's really important. Brooke Henderson, if you do not know her, she is a young Canadian player, has won for the 10th time on the LPGA Tour, which makes her the most winning Canadian ever in the game of golf.
Wow.
That's a pretty good fact.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
How many wins did Mike Weir have on PGA Tour?
He did not have 10,
Well, obviously.
but he did have a green jacket.
But yeah.
He got a green jacket, so I mean, he was the first left-handed major winner since Bob Charles.
Right.
So he beat Lefty to the winner's circle right there, and then Lefty has then Phil
Right.
the Thrill, my man Mickelson.
He had
right?
8. He won 8 tour events.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was already the winning.
Well, what other Canadians do we have? I mean,
Mo Norman?
Well, obviously.
Let's
but
talk about Mo.
Mo, he would leave tournaments when he thought was going to win them because he didn't want to have to give a victory speech. You know, but
Well,
No, is that true?
that
yeah,
is true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
And
It's. I mean, I've read enough that it's been proven that he was told on 16 or 17 in the tournament that, hey, Mo, you know, make a couple pars, you're going to win, and he intentionally finished second or third. I've read enough about it.
I've been fortunate enough
Could be wrong,
to work with a gentleman who played on who's from Kentucky and played on the Canadian Tour, and he said he would follow. And this is back in the '90s when he played on it.
Yeah.
And he said Mo Norman would follow the circuit still and just hit balls and put on a clinic, and he would go to the next town, and he was always there. Never really played in any tournaments because this is beyond, you know. He was towards the end, end of his years, and but he really still followed the circuit up there and supported Canadian golf. And
well, did you ever hear the story? You know, I
greatest ball striker, one of the greatest ball strikers ever.
You know, read a lot about Mo. You know, you find some obscure stuff when you're reading. You don't know how true it is or nothing. Obviously, you wasn't there, but you know, I heard a story one time where, you know, he was on the tee and he's getting ready to hit a tee shot, and somebody said, "Mo, there's a creek out there. You know, you don't want to hit driver here." And he hit the bridge.
I hit the bridge. That's what I do.
He hit the bridge. He said, I was aiming for the bridge. You know, like there was a bridge across the creek, and he just was aiming for the bridge. Now, how, you know, who knows?
I believe it. My dad can do that. He used to do that over at Polo Fields.
Well,
there you go.
I've hit the bridge.
On 18, I'm serious. He would just aim for that bridge because he couldn't hit it over, and he just hit the bridge. And
Well, you know, I've hit the bridge before on the kids' course at Shawnee, the 64 bridge.
Hey, no, the best Mo Norman
And I'm
story,
talking when I'm playing the kids' course, not from the driving range.
Right.
the best Mo Norman story. He's walking down. He's got a ball 10 feet from the hole. He's walking down the fairway, and whoever he's playing with made the comment, "Yeah, you know, I think Gary Player is the best sand player in the world." And Mo looks at him kind of sideways, and he gets up there and he takes his putter and he smacks it off the green into the sand trap.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" He gets up there from the sand, hits it a couple inches away, and turns to the guy and goes, "I'm the best sand player in the
That's
world."
true story.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, anybody listening, if you don't know
Just
who Mo,
YouTube him.
if you do not know who
Just
Mo Norman
YouTube.
is, YouTube him.
When you go down the ball striking
Yes.
warm hole,
Yes,
there is
yeah.
none greater than Mo
You
Norman.
will end up on YouTube and wake up. Well, you won't go to sleep. You'll be
I was first
6 o'clock in the
introduced to him
morning.
from the old pro over at Charlie Vettner, Carl Owen,
Oh, yeah.
in
Wonderful
96 when I was working there. And whenever it was cold, he had a VHS tape of him hitting balls, and he would hold court back there. We would put it in there, have lunch, and watch Mo Norman hit balls for 30 minutes doing this click. And I hit it dead straight. Straight.
Yeah.
Never. Can't play 36 holes because I be in my same divot. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite lines.
If you were so good, Mo, though, you would aim to
Yes.
about 2 inches right of that.
He
divot, you know?
wouldn't fly though, right? He'd drive everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a driver. So
And Carl Owen, what a wonderful guy.
Oh, no doubt, one of the best. I was
Rest in peace.
I was fortunate to play with Gary Feldman and Kenny Hall, and I put a video of Kenny Hall
Yeah,
up
I've
on
seen
my
that. I've seen
yesterday over at Long Run, and he's 82 years old. Mr. Feldman's not in his best health, and he wasn't able to play, but I was able to ride around for about 6 holes with him, and it was just a great day. I did that on Monday, and you know, the history and connection to the game of golf into Kentucky, to the local golf professionals out in the state that nobody knows about. Some of the best golf professionals in America are from Kentucky. There is, without a doubt, that is true for what they do for the game of golf, what they do for their communities in their rural areas, and just all the history that's, you know,
Yes.
from some of their club members that have competed at the highest levels and the amateurs and and opens from these rural cities. I mean, it started because a PGA professional was there making that happen.
And
So
just for anybody listening, you make sure you think you're a PGA professional when you are in the shop.
yes, oh yes, but
Don't walk in and complain about the course, and make sure you just thank them and thank your
Well,
maintenance people.
I'm pumped for Brooke, and I think that we're going to definitely talk a little bit when we talk about this upcoming week and some fantasy things about where the ladies are playing next week. I mean, in HBC or HSBC World Championship in Singapore. I mean, they're following kind of the same formats of the tours that the men are doing with these international fields that are played across the world, and the game of golf. I mean, let's look. Is getting stronger and stronger. And It always starts with your great golf professionals for sure. So let's talk about a couple other things before we get into our fantasy picks. And again, let's tell a caddy story real quick. Derby week here in Louisville, Kentucky. Do you have any caddy stories about Derby week? We talked about a little bit of our caddy experiences. We'll bring some of those in. I'm going to share a pro shop story with you that I'm excited about. And we'll start with a caddy story first, because caddies always take precedence over the golf professionals that we were just talking about. But let's go.
Other than just meeting a lot of celebrities, I mean, I have this story would be too long to tell, but my George Brett story. I caddied for George Brett, which was one of my favorite baseball players, and seems like it was around Derby time. So yeah. We'll just make it a
right.
So anyway, I'm gonna make this story short and sweet. But Brett basically leaves a putt short on 4, and I, was kind of intimidated by Brett anyway. I was only 16, 17 years old at the time. He had just retired from baseball, and he leaves this putt short. And I, just being the smart ass I am, I say, Craig Nettles hits harder than that. And I don't know if anybody knows, but, there was a fight at third base with him and Craig Nettles. And he stops, doesn't say a word. I thought, oh, shit, I'm fired. I'm so
That's
dead.
great.
He comes over, gets me in a headlock, and spends the rest of the day telling me some of the greatest baseball stories from the Pine Tar incident, and just treated me like I was his best friend. But there was a second there where I thought I was going to get a putter upside my head. But so, yeah, and I believe that was around Derby. It had to have been. I mean, it was, we're going back to 86, 87 when that happened. So, but judging by the time, it was
right.
It was definitely around Derby.
I never really had any. Again, I was always wearing that white canvas and just more about that canvas suit and trying to hustle whoever I had versus coming in. I remember a few times caddying for a gentleman who would always bring people in for Derby week, and you would be excited. Then all of a sudden you get quarter bounced and get that $25. We don't need to drop names, I
will give you another one.
We'll talk about that guy. We'll talk about that guy.
Well, I'm going to give you one story.
Oh, you're going all right.
And this is the guy who you are talking about, who always brought the celebrities.
Quarter bouts of me.
Yes. He brought John Michael.
We caddied for $18 back in the day.
It was $1 a hole back in those days. Now we're going back to when the fees were $25. This is when the fees were $25.
You would get minimum, right?
Yeah, minimum was $25. But when I started, it was $18. But so this guy had brought in John Michael Montgomery, the country singer.
Mm-hmm.
We get on 18. John Michael's one of the nicest guys you will ever meet. We get on 18, and John Michael wants to give every caddy in the group a sawbuck.
Right.
And he says, no. And you probably know who it is when I start. He goes, no. I got it. I got everything taken care of. John Michael, these caddies are well taken care of.
I didn't know you was coming with the vocals. That's great.
He dips us all down $40.
You're opening up on our show now, Joe. You're trying to take over the host, bro.
I got to know who this is.
We'll share later.
We're not going to say it. Dips us all down $40. 40. Man, we're mad or whatever. I mean, because we basically had the money in our hand. John Michael always pulled it out of his, was handed to us. John Michael comes down the steps. Where this is the new clubhouse.
Right.
Underneath, you had already gone by then. John Michael comes down, gives us all, $100, and says, "Sorry about that, guys."
Oh, did he?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So we made 140.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But man, I'm telling you, I was in that guy's group a lot.
I don't know if it was good to be in. It was good to be in that group because
I seen him insult the guy who made a home run.
That's crazy.
Yeah. He said the guy makes a home run on 11. The caddy, we're jumping up in the air. We're up in the air.
And if you remember what Ted
this
Strange,
just goes to show you that no matter how good you are or how bad you are at golf, that everybody gets lucky every now and then.
And this guy walked the next hole like he'd been shot. And I'm like, I got my arm around the guy. I'm like, hey, just leave it alone, dude. You made a home run. Like, look, I'm not going to knock anybody, but
Well, we could knock it. I mean, it goes back
come to find out later how this guy
well,
was.
it goes back to what we said in what Mr. Starks told you.
Mr. Starks.
Mr. Starks. I was going to say Ted Strange, but he
No,
told you
no.
another story.
Ted probably told me how to get to the strip joint.
But you know how you can spend some time on the golf course and you immediately know and within one round, and you knew that. And whether it was always nice to get in that game because there was celebrities, and it was, you know, it's always fun just to walk with people that you see on TV and see how much they love the game of golf too, and the celebrity challenges that are coming through the games and how they're being played out now, especially with Steph Curry and whatnot. It's great. Anyways,
so let's get the
you like to have that guy, but at the same time, it was $25.
He quarter bounced.
It was quarter bounce all day,
and then act like and then like act like he did you a favor.
Right,
You know?
right. So just my favorite, and I was fortunate enough to be around and working at some of the private facilities in Louisville and Harmony Landing and Louisville Country Club, and you know both those facilities were pretty exclusive at the time that I worked there, and Louisville still is.
Yes.
But my favorite one was when I was a head professional at Oxmoor, and I had an assistant who, this is probably my third year. We would always have first start the story with, I inherited a big event that was always played on Oaks Day that took up the entire, tee sheet for 2 hours, and it was a shotgun start, and then it fell apart, and then I would give them the tee sheet, but then I would have everybody. Long story short, I wanted everybody that was in there. So Oaks Day was always a busy day at my facility, and my assistant takes a call, and he's like, "Hey, this guy just called, and there's a celebrity in town. He wants to play golf. He says he's in the NBA."
You're thinking MJ.
Well, he's thinking MJ. I'm thinking, man, we got 200 members playing golf, and I don't know about this. And he's calling, on Friday morning,
Right.
and I'm like, I don't know about this. Well, we can do this, and we'll put them behind this group, all the group, and I have all these members that are playing in this event. And I'm like, well, again, still not kind of 100%. But I was like, all right. He's like, it could be MJ. I mean, and he's fired up. MJ's still playing at this time, I guess. I mean, it was 2003 or so, or 4.
Yeah.
So he's still in the game, I think. I can't remember when
Chip
he
and
retired.
Jordan.
Yeah, but whenever he comes, and there's another cat in the
We'll
stories about him.
We'll tell it later.
Well, but come to find out, when they all came, it was not Michael Jordan.
No.
And so, we had worked in 2 games of celebrities, and it was 8 guys. And I was like, well, if we're going to do it, I'm going to play golf with them just to make sure. And so, I'd already been there since 5:30 in the morning, and I was ready to, at 2 o'clock, I was like, okay, I'll go play. And so get out there, and it was Ron Harper. And Ron Harper with his posse. And if you don't know who Ron Harper is, and at that point in time, I mean, he was with the Lakers. Ron Harper played with Jordan.
Yeah, he played for
Ron
Bulls.
Harper, his next door neighbor and best friend is John Carter, who's Chris Carter's older brother.
Right, played for the Vikings.
Played for the Vikings. Chris Carter was not there, but John
Right.
was. And it was their posse, his managers. They're in town for the Derby, play golf. And Harper, there is no doubt, is an athlete, and he was a good player. Took a couple mulligans, but pretty much shot 82, knew what he was doing.
Right.
Really, really kind of a cool dude. And I liked him just because, hey, I love basketball. Pro game is probably my favorite type of basketball, especially back in the day. I mean, now with all the dribbling around, step backs, and, 3-point jacks from 40 feet, that's another story. But we get to play. And so we sneak him in, we go play. And where the story gets really good is that, I'm playing with him. And we're on, there was a lot of people, and we still filled up everybody behind. So we're pretty much hitting and waiting all day, right? And we get over to hole number 8, right over there by my cousin T. Rock, over on his block over there. So we're over there on hole number 8, and we're sitting on the tee, and there's a group on the green, and there's these 2 kids playing basketball just right on the corner of the championship tee to the left.
Yeah.
And they're 2 16-year-old Trinity boys out there just hooping. Well, sure enough, ball's bouncing. Guess where Ron's going?
He goes to just leaves golf course. Goes
him
over
and
to John
Carter, him and John, because I played with him and John and his manager, so it was us 4.
Right.
Him and John go over there. They just start hooping. I mean, and we're waiting on the green. Green opens up. Here comes up the next group, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, they're over there hooping. So his manager hits. we look over and we're like, "Hey, Ron, come on!" And I mean, and they're over there just
Did these kids know who
these
Ron
kids
Harper
have
was?
no clue who
Okay,
Ron
all right.
Harper is.
Right.
I mean, they just
Which-
see two guys.
I don't know. I mean,
Well, you had to know he, was somebody.
he may have told them when he
how
was over
cool
there.
that have been. to
Because
those
Ron
kids.
Harper liked to talk about Ron Harper.
Well,
And
nothing wrong with that.
No, there is nothing wrong with that. And I mean, and so, I hit it on the green. Now, Mrs. Jones is coming up behind us, and I'm like, all right. And hey, his buddy, I was like, you got to go get him. And he was like, man, he said something now. So I walk over there, right? I'm like, hey, Ron, let's go, guys, man, come on. And he's like, oh, this, that, and the other. And they're shooting, and like the kid knocks one, or he like makes one. He throws it to him. Ron gets it out of the ball, throws it to him. He bricks it. It comes rolling back down the driveway to me. I mean, like literally,
Right.
I pick it up at almost in the top of that little hill of that guy. And T knows
Yeah,
exactly
I know what house
the
you're
base.
talking about, yeah.
And so I'm standing in the grass and I just pull it up. And I am not a good shooter. And T again will.
Josh can ball, but shooting's not his thing.
The shooting is not my thing, and
He's
so
a passer.
I am actually better outside shooter than when with wind and all the elements. I'm better when I'm playing at the park. You get me inside a gym, and I love going inside a gym. Oh my gosh, man, I am going to brick lay it all day. I net this thing.
Oh, did you really?
Net
Wow.
it. Yeah, pured it, and I mean, boom! It was better than the shot that I hit on the green. And he's like, "Damn, bro, what are you doing?" I was like, "Hey, Ron, we gotta go, man." I said, "If you don't know, I'm a white boy from Kentucky. I will ball on you."
Did he call you white chocolate the rest of the
Dude,
day?
you want to talk
Or
about
white
loving? I mean, we had
Yeah.
the best time after that, and it was a great. Like I said, he was a good player. John Carter was not a good player, but he was a great cusser. So
Right.
he was,
Which makes it, yeah.
he was the best.
I could have fit in this group.
This guy could drop an F-bomb, and it
Oh.
was fantastic. And so, we
Gotta drop
played,
F-bombs on the golf
had,
course.
had a couple of adult beverages afterwards, so it was a really good time. One
Oh.
of my best derby stories, just because I actually made a jumper. So I'm getting close here. We're seeing the post of, and I'm getting low battery over here. We have to talk about a couple of things this week upcoming in the the Valspar at Copperhead Classic on a PGA Tour played in Tampa at the Innisbrook Resort. This is a great golf course. It was designed by Larry Plackert, and Larry is he's got a little local connection to golf here in Kentucky, and specifically in the Louisville area. The designer of this golf course designed a club in our city. And Joey Sears, can you tell me who it is?
What was the guy's name again?
Oh, let me find my notes again. His name is Larry Packard.
Larry Packard redid Audubon, didn't he?
No, sir.
No. Hold on.
He designed a golf course. There was no redid.
Okay.
And it is a private facility that has no swimming pool.
Oh, why do I got this on?
And it's located somewhere near where you and I used to go every day.
They did that in Oxmoor?
No, it was on the other side of the Floyd's Fork.
Oh,
Midland Trail.
Midland Trail.
Midland
Jesus Christ.
Trail.
I did not know this.
Come
Wow,
on.
wow, Jesus
Come
Christ.
on. Oh,
Well,
my
I look like
gosh.
a real goofball on
The
that.
swimming pool kind of gave
Yeah.
it away.
Thank you.
And then
See,
I say
mean, I was-
Oxmoor, who's got like a giant swimming pool. My head's up my ass today.
If you're swimming at this place at Midland Trail, you are swimming in that little fork over there to the left
Well,
of
I've
16.
swum in that fork a few times in my golf balls.
Larry Packer was
That's
just
right. Larry
the
did.
guy that
Yeah.
designed
I love
this.
Midland Trail. One of my favorite golf
Well,
courses.
it's interesting is that Copperhead Golf Course here in Tampa is a fantastic resort, and it is notoriously tough. It has been rated.
Yeah, it's definitely tough.
One
Yeah.
of the
You've
top
played it.
10.
You've played it,
I have
correct?
not. They were doing in the middle of a renovation. I stayed at the facility and was down in Innisbrook. Played the Island course, which he also designed,
Right.
and then there's like 4 courses there. But the Copperhead is obviously the big boy course with the PGA Tour coming in here. It's one of the top 10 courses on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So this week, you better take a ball striker. You better take a great player, someone who can putt because the greens are pretty big and they have some tiers and some complexes on them.
Man, Josh keeps throwing me these curveballs on
Yeah,
the show.
but I mean,
get
you know,
these
it
brain
is,
farts.
and the coolest part about it is just kind of going back to that snake story that we started with on
Yeah.
the Katy Loop is that, you know, they have the snake pit, which is the final 3 holes of the golf course, and it is known as the hardest 3 holes in the top 3 holes in golf. So it's right up there with the Wells Fargo and with the Memorial and Quail Hollow and Muirfield with those 2 tournaments. So going to be a great week. You're going to have some really good ball strikers down here. Larry Packard, again, the designer, being the guy who designed Midland Trail. If you want to get a feel, and when I found this out, I'm going to tell you the Midland Trail now makes a lot of sense to that design with those with the dog legs going right and left, because that's what was at the Island course, and that I did play down in Innisbrook. But when I did walk the 9 holes, at least on Copperhead, just to see it, and there was a lot of double dog legs that are going right there this week. So with that, one of the great stories of the week, and this is as we look into it, is this gentleman named Michael Vasecki, who is qualified his first time ever for a PGA Tour event, but his story is incredible. He is a 27-year-old resident of Florida, went to University of Central Florida, played 1 year, dropped out of there, played on the mini tours down on the West Coast Golf Tour fame.
Yeah.
That has 30 events a year, and he's been doing that for the last 6 years, and he's won 37 times. The guy knows how to win.
Yes.
He is a legend on that.
And what a great story. And it was shared by Q School, the guy who does the Q School.
1.2 million views.
Well, he went viral because he called his dad
and started crying.
when he Monday qualified and started crying. His dad was crying. And you could feel it because it's one of those things like, man, that would be me. you know, if that was me, that would totally be me in that situation.
And I've got to give, the guy who does the Monday Q on Twitter, follow him. Guy's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
He's the one who posted the video, and then it kind of took
Well, 1.2 million videos, and not only that, it was on national news this morning when I was walking out the door. So, it made Good Morning America. So, what a fantastic story. And just like Teague said, that call to mom and dad would be just so emotional. But, he broke down when he made that putt. He had a 20-footer in the playoff, and his story is incredible because, he has also had where he was in contention in the second round of Q School, or the second stage of Q School, and on the final round, hit a ball into a tree, lost his ball, had to make a double bogey because the ball got wedged into the tree. So, to be able to stay the course.
He knew he had to get up and down, and he kind of scolded his chip. And he had to make a long putt.
Right.
And then nailed this thing and then grabbed the guy he was playing with and wouldn't let go of him. Kept hugging him. It was
Let's
crazy.
just hope this is what gets him over the hump.
I hope so.
Because, look,
Like to see him play well,
that's
make
what
the
happens
cut.
out there is that takes the confidence and just puts it on another
Well, being
level.
a Florida resident, and he's probably played this course before and has tested his game on this golf course because, when you're playing down there, you want to play great golf courses and test your game, especially at that level. And so if he makes the cut this week and makes some money and gets him out of the cart barn and allows him to kind of compete a little bit more, because that's currently what he's doing. In between him playing on the Florida tours and some of these Corn Ferry events and doing Monday qualifiers, he's cleaning clubs, watching carts, and
picking
then
the
chasing
range.
and chasing the sun afterwards. So, Michael, we're cheering for you. I want to cut this week. I also want to talk about some
So who are you
my
picking?
picks this week, and this is big. I'm going with Justin Thomas.
Oh, that's easy. It's such a. Okay. Well,
Justin
I
Rose
always said I was going to do a Euro first, but I'll tell you what.
I'm
I'm
going to
going
take
to go back.
Dustin Johnson. Come on, Josh. That's easy.
All right, I'm going to go with my Euro pick real quick. I'm going to go with our defending champion. Not only is he our defending champion once, he is our defending champion twice. That is Mr. Paul Casey of England. 2018,
My favorite swing on tour.
2019. This event was coveted in 2020, so Paul Casey has the opportunity to defend. He will be a three-peater. Could be one of the first since Tiger Woods has won
That's a good pick.
3 events, and he is playing great golf. But Justin is in the field. I do think this, again, walking the property kind of has that tree-lined area. It's not a typical Florida course that is lined with water and fairway bunkers and whatnot. It's in through the pines, doglegging around. Has a little feel of Midland Trail, a little feel of Harmony Landing, and I like Justin Thomas this week too.
All right.
Joey.
I am going with Victor Hovland.
Oh, that's a good
And
one.
I am going to throw a pick out there, and I'm only picking this because I love this guy, but Camilo.
Now, Camilo Vegas,
Villegas, yeah.
Villegas?
Wow. Where's he been for the last?
Well, his daughter died. I mean, this
He's
guy's,
had a lot of
you know,
stuff going on,
a
but
lot of
he
stuff
has
going on in
played
his
well.
life.
He played
so
well.
let's hope this is kind of like a fairy tale story of
Michael.
Emilio
Yeah.
and the guy who made it through.
I
Let's
like
hope it's
that.
like a
I
top
like
5
that.
finish.
I
for
mean,
those
he's
guys.
from that area. He lives down in, in the I don't know if he lives in Tampa
Well, he's
or
in Miami.
that
I
area,
think
but
he's in Miami.
he may be, but he definitely played at University of Florida, and he's been through some hard times. He has been playing better golf though.
Yeah.
He plays well in Florida all the time. I like that pick.
So there's my picks: Hovland,
But now
Camilo.
let's get the
drum roll.
drum roll. T-Rock from around
All
the
right.
block.
So look, again, if you're paying attention, if you've been paying attention for the last,
We're hot.
You would have been a
3
millionaire
episodes.
if you were paying attention last week.
and I think he's talking to me and you. I got 5 on it.
now listen, the picks that we've given out here have all been pretty money. So, that being said, I'm not taking Visacki. I think he's going to be too emotional. I'm pulling for him. That's who I want to win this
I
thing.
just wanted to make a cut.
I wanted to make the cut. I would love to see him do well. I do not think he's going to play well. I think it's going to be
a lot of pressure.
too much pressure, too much emotion. All right. So I'm going to start with, yes, Justin Thomas. I think Dustin Johnson. I think that if you're doing a DraftKings and you're taking 6 guys, you got to take one of those 2. Because I do think one of those 2 are going to be at the top, and I'm with you on Justin Thomas. Now, to give you some play here, to give you some guys that are going to be some value that I think can actually make you some money,
I got one of those 2.
Corey Connors has been incredible.
That's
Canadian.
one of your favorite
I've been
picks.
taking him, and he's been doing fantastic. I'm going to go outside of a couple names that I haven't given here lately. I think Keegan Bradley is going to have a good event, and I think there's a guy named Ricky Wierzinski. There's your money play.
There's a money play.
I think that's he's going to do really well. Now, here's your long shot. Now, this is from my cousin Jordan. Now, listen, Jordan Ridge might be the best
He's
golf
on it.
gambler in the world.
Right,
Like,
he's
he's
on it.
incredible at this stuff.
Right.
So he messaged me yesterday, and he listens to our podcast every week, so I just think it's so cool. Jordan said,
Sorry about that.
Here's your long shot pick. Chase Koepka. Brooke Koepka's little brother. Now,
Wow.
listen.
How'd he get in the field?
He hasn't done sponsor exemption.
Okay, all right.
Now, I don't think he's done that well PGA Tour event-wise. He's played in a few. I think he's a Korn Ferry guy. But he played college golf at South Florida. He's played this course
Right.
hundreds of times. He's going to make the cut. You're going to get him for nothing in DraftKings. He might be one of the bottom guys. Take him because he's going to make you some money.
Speaking of bottom guys, I do have one pick that, as I was doing my research, and it was pretty impressive, is Jason Kokorik.
Okay,
Yeah, I was just looking
Jason
at that.
Kokorik. I mean,
Yeah.
and when you see that,
Yeah.
I mean, this guy has been in the top 10 or 14 or better 4 times out of the 6 starts that he's had on this, and he's been in the top 5 3 of them.
Okay.
So I mean, there's a deep pick in
That's
the
a good
field
one.
right there.
It's a good pick.
And I mean, this is a golf course when it's a hard golf course that you got to know and you got to be able to play well. That's a great fact right there on Koepka right there.
Brooks'
All right,
little
Joe.
brother.
I'm gonna throw one more in there just because I'm looking at this guy, this William McGirt.
I like William
Don't even know
McGirt.
who the heck this guy is.
But McGirt likes to get into McDirt.
All right. Hey, now,
so go with the 6 horse in the Derby. and
Oh,
William
we're about
okay.
ready to come
Derby
to a
picks.
Derby pick.
There
And
you
we
go.
got to have a Derby pick, and I got a huge one this year, and I'm excited. I am going to go with 2 picks, and I am going to go with our local hero, Mr. Brian Cox. He's going to win Essential Quality because it's the Sheik's horse. The Sheik has never won a Derby. They are the favorites. I like it, but my future play and the one that I'm going to put in there, you have to have it just on the name alone, Bourbonic. And when you have Bourbonic on there, you're going to get 30-1 odds. But the cool fact about Bourbonic is Kedrick Kamuchi, and I hope I said that right. He's the first black jockey since 2013 to ride in a Derby, and he is going to win on Bourbonic and become the first black jockey to win since 1901 and 1902. Oh, Jimmy Wingfield. But so I am going with those 2, but most importantly, and I will share a parlay that I guarantee is going to cash out after everybody else gives their picks. So let's go with you there, Mr. Handicapper.
I haven't done this in so long. I'm horrible at this stuff anymore. Used to do it a lot. I'm just gonna pick some numbers out here. I'm going with the 6 horse. This old Bessel. Whatever. See, it shows how bad I am. And I am gonna throw.
You'd be fun to take to Churchill Downs,
Yeah.
though, Joe.
Well, I used to be actually. I used to pick these things, but So I'm going with that. I'm just going to go with a 6-4 and then throw a 10, 6-4, 10 try.
Oh, there
throw
you
your
go.
money down and hope you make some. Go drink in the end. Well, I don't know. You're allowed in the infield this year. Just go drink, throw some numbers down, because the Derby is a crapshoot.
Well,
Always
if you're
has
going to
been.
gamble, you might as well take what we just gave you for the Valspar. better than our
Yeah.
horses, but go ahead there, cousin
no,
T.
known agenda. Todd Fletcher's course.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Todd Fletcher's been hot at the Derby. Now, one other thing that is a tradition through, and this is the parlay that we're going to ride out on right now. I am going to give you the winner of tonight's boat race, and I'm going to tell you, that you can play this trifecta box, and you're guaranteed.
Is there 3 boats in it?
I don't think there is 3 boats in there.
who's the
There is the third, and there is the American Duchess coming in for third.
Where's this thing coming from?
The American
I mean,
Duchess.
seriously.
It came from Indiana, I guess.
Is this the riverboat that they closed?
This
Did they rename it? Like they moved the casino on
The
land?
Bella
and now they're-
Cincinnati, you're going to play the American Duchess, and that's going to be the third pick, and we're going to play the Bella Cincinnati in the second pick. And then our overall winner today is going to be the Bella Louisville. There's no doubt it's going to be able to ride the choppy Ohio River. The rain's coming in.
Do we need to?
Louisville.
Has the bed race been run yet? Do we need to bet this too? I mean, the boat race. He's giving it a
I
trifecta.
just gave you a trifecta that you cannot
They're
miss.
running Caesars
It's
Riverboat
guaranteed
will
to
be
pay.
in
Let's
the
ride
boat
this
race.
thing out. Let's ride it like a paddle.
boat race.